Hello and welcome to the Elemental Entrepreneurship Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here, as always. If you're new to the show, so excited that you're here. If you are returning, always so grateful that you keep coming back and letting me be in your ear holes. So, a couple things I want to start with. Number one is that hopefully this is going to be a brief episode. I don't know if that's ever true because if you've been around, you know that I struggle with brevity. I think one of the best things about having ADHD is that all of your thoughts have like a secret drop-down menu and have a bunch of sub-thoughts inside them. So brevity is challenging, but I think this is going to be a short episode because as I'm recording this, it's 5 p.m. I'm done with really most of my work for the day. I want to go exercise and do other things. But this thought that I have that I want to share is fresh, and I feel like if I don't get it out of my brain, I'm going to lose it. So I am grabbing this tiger by the tail and trying to make sure that I capture it while I still can. That's a big magic reference. Have you read that book? If you have, DM me. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. So another little quick aside before I get into the content of this episode is that I actually have decided on a new name for this podcast. I have been sharing that this is all being rebranded and everything is changing, but I was being very patient and chilling in receiving mode and just waiting for the oh my God, that's it to hit me. And it did. And I'm not telling you what it is yet because there's going to be a big relaunch. But I'm really excited about it. I love it. And it has kind of breathed fresh life and aliveness and excitement in me about this show and about having a podcast. And that's kind of how I know it is the one. So look out for that rebrand coming relatively soon. Okay. So I want to get into the thing I want to talk about today. I don't have a catchy title for this. I'm going to figure out the title for this episode after it's done. But I want to share that I just got off of a call with a private client who recently, within the last week, had the experience of getting paid the most she's ever gotten paid, $20,000 plus $1,500 in travel to speak at a major company that you've heard of for sure, using her most honest, authentic, potent, and quite frankly, confrontational and uncompromising messaging. And that's the flashy Instagram headline, right? My client just had this major win, this major financial win, this major personal win. That's the thing that we say online when, as a coach, when you're trying to talk about why you want to work with me, because I just had a client who had a $20,000 day. And I did. And that's true. A $20,000 day being their most authentic, their most honest, their most bold. And it's true. But the second slide on this little imaginary Instagram carousel, that might not be imaginary, I might make it, is the work you don't see behind the scenes that went into that, which was months really of deep inner work around wounded child consciousness programming this client was carrying, that if they said the thing they really wanted to say, they would be punished. They would be bullied. They would be harassed. They would be doxxed. They would never be hired again. That as a person in a body that carries multiple marginalized intersectional identities, that it is not safe for them to say these things in public. And that's very real. And just that the fear that they carried, the deep, deep fear that they carried that was born of real life experiences, that if they used the language they wanted to use, if they said the thing they really wanted to say, if they called out the problems, the systemic problems that they really saw in their industry, it would create problems for them. It would create danger for them, and it wouldn't be a viable business because no one would pay for it. We spent a long time doing deep inner child work, somatic work, nervous system calibration work around experimenting with opening up to saying the thing and being available, having the capacity in your body to see what happens when you say the thing. And I knew what would happen, but her trauma at the beginning and her life experience at the beginning and her nervous system at the beginning had a really hard time believing that what I knew was possible would happen, which is that she said the thing, she stated the pricing that she was available for, she drew the line in the sand, and the big company said, sure, no problem, send us your invoice. And the big company said, oh my God, we need you. And she showed up and she facilitated and she did her thing. And they said, oh my God, you're amazing. How do we get more? And seeing her today, I literally saw on the Zoom screen a different person. It was like an exhale that ran through her entire business and her entire body. And she said, with clarity and confidence, I crushed it. I was amazing. This is so needed. People aren't afraid of this. And now I know how to do it, that I can do it, that I'm amazing at doing it. And I think I'm going to raise my prices. And I could have jumped out of my seat. I literally cried because I was so happy for her and so excited for her. Not because of the money. I mean, yes, a 20K day is fucking phenomenal. But the money is a natural consequence, a byproduct of her availability to say the true thing, the hard thing, the scary thing, the brave thing, the honest thing that is her ministry and her messaging and her truth, and is the keen, insightful thing that people really need to hear because other people are afraid to say it. And this is leadership, right? High level leadership. Leaders go first. Leaders say the thing that everyone's thinking, but everyone is afraid to say. And once they say it, it opens the door for everyone else to go, oh my God, thank you. I've been thinking this, but I didn't know I was allowed to talk about it until you talked about it and made it safe to talk about. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank God for you. Thank you for coming in here, for doing this work, for saying this thing, for making this way, for clearing this path. But a lot of people don't talk about the bravery, and also that bravery feels like fear. The bravery that goes into being the person who's willing to clear the path, and what it takes to be the person that's willing to clear the path, even and especially when you're also the person who's carrying the trauma, the person who's carrying the wounding, the person who's carrying the fear, which everyone is, right? No one's made it this far in life on this planet right now without carrying some trauma and some wounding. That's just part of the deal. And in this conversation, she also shared that she's been watching my launch for Powerhouse Mastermind and saying, I feel so called in by this messaging. I feel so called out by this messaging. I feel read to filth by this messaging. And I see the things you're saying, and I know there are ways that I've been procrastinating and overcomplicating and holding myself back. There are ways that these internal subtle self-sabotages are holding me back from taking these steps. And I want to be able to just ship it. And I paused her and I said, you've been working with me for a long time now. And I want you to know that the work that I do in Powerhouse is not different than the work that we do privately. It is a ton of inner work. It is business big swings. It is strategy. It is messaging. It is getting the program together and shipping it. It is making the pitches. But it is doing that while knowing that the simple act of doing that is going to activate all of your inner shit. And once all of that shit is activated and brought to the surface, we can work with it in real time, transmute it and transform it in real time so that you have the capacity for the follow through on that big swing. And please don't think that people come into Powerhouse and they are different than you, that they have an easier time, that they have less inner work to do. Some people do, maybe potentially, have less inner work to do, or they have issues that can be moved through more quickly. And some people have issues that take longer to work through, have capacity that takes longer to build. It's funny, as I said that, the image that I got in my mind, because I love lifting weights, is like, I don't expect every single person who walks in the door to be able to bench press 200 pounds. If there's one person who's never worked out a day in their life, and there's another person who's been lifting heavy weights for a long time, and one person comes in and they can bench 500, and one person comes in and they can bench 5, then there's a lot of different places that we are meeting and a lot of different work that has to be done to get that 200-pound barbell in the air. That's just how it is. The capacity building takes as long as it takes based on the starting point of the body that's doing the work. And I felt called. I was like, I have to talk about this because I wonder if you think this and you know me, if you think this and we've been working together intimately for a long time, that I'm calling people in and saying, hey, you're self-sabotaging. You have wounded child consciousness running your business. You're procrastinating. You're overcomplicating. You are changing strategy all the time. And you need to get in here. And once you're in, you're just going to stop it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're doing all of these things for a really good reason. All of us do all the things we do for a really good reason. We might not know what the reason is because subconscious mind is wild. We might not know what the reason is, but it is a really good reason. It is a protective reason. It is designed to keep us safe and keep us alive and keep us moving forward every day. It's a really good reason. And it's not working for you. It's not getting you to where you want to go. And so my expectation is not that once you get in my presence, you're just going to ship it. You're just going to be able to do the thing that you haven't been able to do. My expectation is you're going to get in my presence. We're going to decide on the big swing that is your next level, the thing you want to do, the thing that's been eluding you, the move that you've been wanting to make but haven't been able to make yourself make, the revenue cap that you keep hitting and you can't figure out why you're hitting it. And then we're going to create a strategy for how you're going to move past that thing. And then I sit and wait for all the shit to come up because it's going to, and I expect it. I am planning on it. I am hoping for it. I am waiting on it. And then the tricky thing that I ask is that you bring it to the space and you bring it to the container so that we can say, boom, here it is. Now we know when I take this action or try to take this action or approach this threshold, my body, my nervous system, my mind, my heart respond in this way that is not helpful for getting me across the finish line. And then we can start working on that. We can throw resource and tools behind that. And that is normal. That's really what business is. And anyone who says that it's not is lying. Anyone who says it's not is selling something. Everyone comes to this work in a body, right? That's an unavoidable thing. This is why I always say any strategy is only as good as the nervous system of the body that has to execute the strategy. You show up to the work in a body that has a history, that has an ancestry, that has a lineage that has lived experience, that has experienced danger and harm. And within this body, we're asking ourselves to perform at our highest level. Coaching is about the art and science of peak performance. Any kind of coaching, vocal coaching, dance coaching, sports coaching, executive coaching, it is the art and science of peak performance. And performance is happening through your body. Your ability to write the copy, to create the program, to make the offer, to price the thing, to stand up on stage and say, this is who I am and what I do and what I believe in. All of that is being performed through the same body that has lived through everything you've lived through up until this exact moment. We can't separate that. And we can't expect ourselves to. The idea that you can check your emotions at the door is bullshit. And maybe some people can, right? And I will say some people can. I think I read something that said what it means to be neurotypical is that you can survive and function in the current world the way it is set up with minimal damage. And that's a privilege. So some people can, but not forever. And sometimes not for long. There's a cat crawling on me if you hear rustling. So some people can. Some people can fully dissociate and shove down their emotions and suppress their experience and force themselves to do the big, hard, scary thing and just put one foot in front of the other and move. There will still be subtle self-sabotage, but that's probably a whole separate conversation. But at what cost, right? That is not something that you can really do forever. There will be a crash. The bill will always come due. It will come in the form of burnout. It will come in the form of tragedy. It will come in the form of illness. It will come in the form of feeling like you hate your business, but it'll come. The way around that is that we don't do that anymore. We don't ask ourselves to operate from extraction. We don't ask ourselves to ignore our body and our lived experience. We don't make our internal protective mechanisms bad or wrong. We show up to them with presence and with love. What it means to be able to build capacity, to build the capacity to do the heavy lifting of your work, to build the capacity to do the thing you want to do, to take the swings you want to take, to become the person in the world that you want to be, means to show up over and over again to the hard work, the inner hard work of getting present and still with your subconscious and nervous system level reactions, to be able to understand them, to bring love and patience to them, and to address them with some new tools, and to start to build a new level of safety in your body that allows you to take one step more than you've ever taken before and show yourself that that was safe, and then do it again and again and again. And this is why I don't usually work with people in short-term containers. This is why none of my coaching packages are less than 6 months, because for the most part, the work takes as long as it takes, and inner work is not instantaneous. And to work in this way, where you're titrating back and forth between the action and the inner work, the inner mastery and the outer strategy, takes time. And this is why some coaches really only do the action and strategy, and other coaches only do mindset or nervous system work or somatic work. And why it's sometimes challenging for me to message and explain and help people understand, no, really, we're doing both at a very high level. When you work with me, we're doing both at a very high level because I expect your business to trigger the fuck out of you. It has to. There's no way that it's not going to. And when it does, I want to be able to be there with tools and presence and co-regulation to help you through that moment so that you can get back into action. My client said, hold on, let me pull up her exact quote. I wouldn't have a business without you right now because I'd be drowning in my own trauma. I would have no idea how to break apart the operational, the generative, and the practical line items, the creative parts, the strategic parts, and my inner shit. I'd have no idea how to break them into appropriate sized bites and which ones to eat first. And I said, can I write that down? Can I share that? And she said, yes, please. And I wanted to share that because it is such an accurate read on me. And I felt so seen and so validated in my work to have someone of her caliber, someone out here having 20K days. I mean, I guess it's 10K day because it was 2 days, a 20K contract that took 2 days to execute. To have someone of that caliber say, I would not have a business without you because I would be drowning in my own shit, was exactly the confirmation I needed that the work that I think I do is the work that I do, that the work that I say that I do is the work that I do, and I'm good at it. And that these are the gaps that a lot of coaches and a lot of programs miss when they only do either strategic work and execution or inner work without legs. And this is why I insist on doing both, even if it's a little trickier to message around. So yeah, she had a 20K in 2 days plus travel, home run of a sale using her biggest, boldest, most authentic messaging. But it didn't come from nothing and nowhere. It came from the previous several months of doing deep inner work around whether or not she felt safe enough to say the thing exactly the way she wanted to say it and to feel safe to take the risk to put herself out there to a client of that magnitude and that caliber. Because that really is a lot on the body to make a pitch of that size. Most people will never do it because they're too afraid of getting the no. And other people will never do it because they're too afraid of what will happen when they get the yes. And her willingness to show up and do that deep inner work week after week until she felt ready to say, you know what, I'm not even available for saying less than what's 100% true for me. And a client that's not comfortable with me saying it like this is not my ideal client. And I'm not showing up for less than 10 grand a day. That's it. And that's all. The work it took for her to be that person on an embodied level was the work it took to make that sale. And that's the part that most people don't see. And that's the part that a lot of people don't talk about when they're making their flashy Instagram worthy, today my client had a 10K day post. Yes, she did. And she worked her ass off to get it. But the work that we were doing wasn't really deep strategic work. It wasn't really positioning work. And it was inner work. It was the body level work that she needed to be the version of herself who could make that pitch and then show up and knock that shit out of the park. And I have to say, it's a very stand and deliver coach moment. I'm very proud. So that's my share. I know it was a little jumbled, and I hope that it was valuable for you to hear. Hopefully there's some key takeaways. I'll sort that out later. Sometimes I just have to show up. I'm a verbal processor, y'all. Sometimes I have to show up and talk through the thing to get to the point. And I hope that I did. And I hope that this was valuable for you to listen to. And with that, I will say Powerhouse Mastermind doors are open right now. If you want to do this kind of work with me, I really highly recommend that you apply. I do this work with people one-on-one, but working with me one-on-one is $15K for 6 months. Powerhouse Mastermind is $9,999 for a year. So it is a steal of a deal. And there's huge value in doing this work in a group of your peers. Because having me to co-regulate is great, and having a bunch of other powerhouse peers that believe in you, that speak your language to co-regulate with, is even better. And the doors are open right now. The cohort starts in June, which really is just a few minutes away, even though it's March right now as I'm recording this. And when you apply right now, when you apply in the next 5 days, you are going to get access to a 15-month payment plan, which makes it $666 a month. That's the lowest, longest payment plan that's available. That is going to fully disappear at the end of this month. And once this goes away, there will only be, I believe, the 12-month payment plan available, which is 12 payments of $888. So if cash flow is a concern, I would recommend that you hop in now. The other thing that you get as a bonus is April and May private Voxer coaching for absolutely free. That is a $2,000 bonus included for absolutely free. So we can get started working one-on-one throughout April and May via Voxer on exactly what the work is that's needed for you to reach your next level, what your big goals are, what the needle moving things are in your business, and a head start on what some of this inner work looks like for you so that you can get a jump on this work. If you have big goals for 2025 that you have not made a ton of headway on, Q2 is pretty crucial. I would recommend that you're making that move in Q2 and not waiting for Q3. And that is why I opened this up so early. And I'm giving people the option of this April, May Voxer for free, because Q2 is where the sausage gets ground on hitting these year-long goals. So if you would like to apply for Powerhouse Mastermind, you can go to intuitiveedgecoaching.com/powerhouse and click any of the buttons on that page and just fill out the application. It takes on average 5-6 minutes to fill out the application. It is not a long process. If you have questions about whether it's right for you, you can DM me on Instagram at Intuitive Edge Coaching. You can email me, intuitiveedgecoaching@gmail.com. Y'all, I saw something talking shit about having a Gmail business address. I have a real business address. Just so you know, you can email hello@intuitiveedgecoaching.com if you want to, if it makes you feel like it's more legit. But my Gmail address actually goes to me. My goes to my team, and things get filtered around and goes to the appropriate person. But intuitiveedgecoaching@gmail.com really goes to me personally. And so that's why I use it on the podcast. That's why I like to let people know, if you want to talk to me, y'all are my friends. I am inviting you to email me personally, and we can chat about it there. But I will also tell you that if you fill out the application and I don't think it's the right fit for you, I will tell you that, and I will direct you to the right place, whether it's with me or with someone else. That's important for both of us. It is really important to me that I don't have you in the wrong room where you're going to be uncomfortable or not get the thing that you really need. So if it's not the right fit for you based on your application, I will always tell you that, but you can also feel free to ask me any questions anytime. I would do it soon because, again, these bonuses are going away in 5 days. Somebody asked me this, so I wanted to let people know. There's a Klarna option on the Pay in Full. So if you wanted to have a payment plan with Klarna and not with me, that could make your payments much lower. There is Klarna available on the 9999. You would just need to tell me if you apply and you get accepted, you would tell me in your response that you would like to check out with Klarna, and I could get you an invoice that would let you use Klarna. So that is an option. That's something we offer here. And just because someone asked about it today, I wanted to let everyone know, if you want that too, you can have it. Okay, that's all I've got for you. I hope that this was valuable. I'd love your feedback. I always love your feedback. It's really helpful for me as I'm making this to just hear back from people about if you're liking the content, if it's helpful for you, if you enjoy it. I love hearing from you. And if you have questions, ask them. And who knows, I might turn your question into a prompt for another episode. So please ask away. Okay, love you. Bye. That's our episode for today. Thank you, as always, for being here and for listening to the podcast. I know there are so many things that you could be doing with your time, so many things you could be listening to. It is an honor that you choose to be here. Connect with me on Instagram at Intuitive Edge Coaching. Have a great day.